Hello there, Debbie from Healthily Toned here, coming to you with a short clip, I hope it's going to be short, about those pelvic floor muscles. So, generally women pay a little more attention to their pelvic floor muscles than gentlemen do, predominantly because they tend to carry babies, deliver babies, and go through menopause changes later in life, and all of those major life events have an impact on that pelvic floor and cause us to be a little more aware of our pelvic floors perhaps than the gents amongst us. But it is true to say that all of us have a pelvic floor, male or female, and I tend to think of it as a sling, and certainly with the prenatal, postnatal training that I did with Girls Gone Strong and with Jenny Burrell Education, little shout out for those folks there. Certainly that was the way I was taught to think of it. If you can imagine kind of everything sort of underneath for us ladies, kind of coming from front to back, if you think sling, kind of a sling muscle which is holding everything kind of in our abdomens and above up. So bladder, urethra, probably some of the things I've forgotten, all of that kind of is above that sling. And so when that sling is not as healthy as it could be in terms of fitness, if it's not as strong as it could be, we will find leaks from those organs that are particularly close. So that's where you get kind of fecal incontinence, bladder incontinence, and also other types of prolapses. So it is very important to work through that core. And probably quite a lot of it we do without even realising. And I know certainly with all of my ladies in the postnatal classes, prenatal classes, and with one-to-ones, it is something that we work on. We get that connection to our pelvic floor, and we do that a little bit through breathing. And I'll do a little bit of that. I'm kind of clutching this ball because, again, in the stretch classes, we use soft Pilates balls as well as other types of balls as well. We can use the large fitness balls or the small squidgy balls. And using these can aid and assist that pelvic floor to work, even though we might not necessarily be realising it. But generally what we do, and I'm just going to hope that my ball does stay still there, is start with a little bit of breathing. And so I'm just going to attempt to do that here. So what we would tend to do is standing or lying or sitting even, is pop our hands on our tummy and take a nice big deep breath in. Feeling those tummies, exhale, and you will feel those tummy muscles contract, you'll feel those tummy muscles tighten up. When that happens, if you can imagine, it's a bit like a diaphragm, a bit like a concertina, if that's the right word, not exactly what I'm looking for, but everything lifts. So when we breathe in, that pelvic floor relaxes. When we exhale, that concertina is contracting and that pelvic floor naturally lifts. So typically in exercises like squats and lunges, when we're exhaling, we want to be trying to pull or be aware of that pelvic floor, that sling underneath us that lifts whilst we are exhaling. And thereby we can strengthen those. But in doing those exercises without us necessarily realising, we are strengthening our pelvic floor. But if I come down to the floor, well, I'm on the floor, but if I come down and I'm just going to pop one cheek underneath my ball so that it doesn't roll away. On the floor, we would typically just tip that pelvis back so that that back is kind of firm on the floor. Nice big deep breath in. And then exhale, rolling that pelvis back just a little bit. You'll feel those tummy muscles contract and tighten. And try and think kind of underneath that pelvic floor, the urethra, for males and females, slightly different place obviously, but that's as far as I want to take it right now. And then back towards that back passage, we want to be lifting from the front and purling back towards us if we can. to focus specifically on that pelvic floor there. So a couple of exercises really. We've already talked about squats and lunges, and when we exhale we will be working that pelvic floor. The pelvic tilts, and then normally I would inhale first, and then as you exhale tilt that pelvis back. But from those pelvic tilts, typically that would lead us into a bridge type of position. So inhaling, exhale, tilt that pelvis back, squeeze through those bottom muscles and lift, and then rolling it back down. That is going to be working through that pelvic floor. Other exercises, often with a ball, a squidgy ball, feet flat on the floor, and then again you can tip that pelvis back, come into a bridge position, and you can squeeze that ball, or you could roll it down, squeeze that ball from that position with the feet down on the floor, or rolling back with one leg, lifting the other leg, and then squeezing that ball. A lot of that squeezing of that ball is going to engage those muscles down the insides of those legs, and also those muscles lower abdomen and down through your pelvic floor. So those, and so coming back to our kind of tabletop position, quite a lot here. Any of those exercises, Pilates style exercises that we tend to do in our core classes and also in our stretch classes. Other thing that we can do, ball between the knees, and then walk those feet away and kind of squeeze with the knees, but try and push the ankles away. It really is going to engage those muscles down through the insides of the legs, into the groin, into those tummy muscles, trying to stay as relaxed as you possibly can. And of course bridges, other things that we might do like deadlifts, so coming to that tabletop position, and then kind of inhaling here as you extend, exhale, bringing it together. Again, being mindful, being aware of that pelvic floor. So it's quite a topic that you could spend quite a lot of time on, and I hope that you enjoyed this little video clip. Short, sweet, really, we could spend a lot of time talking about this and doing lots of exercises, but if you want to come along to a stretch class or a core class, for sure you're going to work that pelvic floor and also those other lower muscles, underlying muscles, and the same with hip workouts, kettles workouts, where we're doing squats, lunges, any of those other things. You are going to be working through that pelvic floor. So hope you enjoyed that. Give us a thumbs up if you did, and catch you soon. Cheers for now. Bye.